Yeah, I want to say some things about the American Revolution. And I was sitting there thinking, how throughout my life, uh, I ended up uh, being willing to sacrifice everything for my liberty, for my freedom. I had a sense of that at an early age. My parents were immigrants. They came over here to the land of good and plenty, uh, and often mentioned the freedoms that we have. And people did very much believe and live that way. And that was all the example that I had for a long time in my life was people that were very free. Though they were conformed in the world and all that, but uh, basically good people in that, and were not really at odds with their government, although there was things they didn't like. Uh, this was back in the days when Jack Kennedy was murdered, and that too. And so, but people continued on with things. Well, during the Revolutionary War, men were building their lives. They were building homes and making their farms and business and the industry, and they were being influenced by the King of England and the monarchy right along from the very beginning, helping to establish the colonies, and but it wasn't until these men who already were willing to give everything to be free what I'm saying is that they're willing to give their homes, and there were cases and the British soldiers could even kick people out of their homes, just take over a place. These kind of things were going on, and it's not that these people gave this stuff, like, here, I'm willing to give anything for my freedom. Okay, they maintained their freedom, and they might have lost everything that they had, but they fought for their lives and their freedom and their dignity and their opportunity to do it all over again and build that life and make their homes and saw that lumber and all that stuff. And I just want to throw that perspective into the American Revolution because I think it's a good one. And the Federal Reserve has, through the banks and through the operation, all that. I mean, how many people, have lost stuff? I've heard about, retired people, who had built their home on a river somewhere and going to retire there, and literally get where they couldn't afford the taxes and stuff, though they had their homes paid for. And those are old stories I've heard about. So this tyranny and such has been going on, but a lot of people don't recognize it. They think the law says they could. Well, the law said those things could go on in the colonies too at the time, that the people ended up rebelling against because they finally couldn't ignore things, and they had to say, yeah, this is really happening. I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it. And now that it became a war like that, well, that was more instigated by the British monarchy and those troops there, which they used the people. And matter of fact, I understand that term, wait till you see the whites of their eyes. was actually, wait till you can see the color of their eyes, that they, whether they were countrymen or not, the British soldiers, that there were, military troops that they had purchased that weren't their fellow countrymen. They didn't want to fight against their countrymen there, and they did go for the enemy. And they say, well, yeah, the colonists, they shot the commanding officers off of their mounts and stuff, and how dare they? That was so rude and disrespectful and stuff. But they did everything they could to get the guys that shouldn't be there, and actually waited to see the color of their eyes. And yeah, that was suitable, that they're closer and a better target and stuff, and get them by surprise and hide in the bushes. And come on, it was about, almost like saying see the color of their skin or something, or see their hair, or see whether they got that smile, see what that look is on their face. See the whites of their eyes. It's pretty well detailed. When you can see the whites of the eyes, you can see pretty much who somebody is. And so I wanted to throw that in there because it was the losses that people had suffered when they recognized that they were suffering losses under the monarchy. When we recognize that we're suffering losses under this, it's really a technocracy, and it's run by the money, and they have a lot more money than we have, than the people have. Because when we borrow money, when we pay it back, we add interest on top of that too, and not to mention the taxes and all that we pay. And one more thing about the money, so you can understand more of what a crime it is, that money started out being issued to the product of the people. Like, they figured out what everybody's needs were: food, clothing, and shelter. And so when people would produce bread or clothing or build homes, or rent them or whatever, that there was money issued out by the priests of the temple to cover that. So everybody had money. And when somebody got that money that was issued to them, they took that coin and went and bought an apple, and they ate the apple, but the coin was still in the system. And that's how they generated wealth. That was really how it wasn't generated by mining gold and getting gold. Using that later on did happen, and was used with the Rothschilds and that to gain control. But God was instructing them to pay back 1/10, but it was 1/10 of what they earned and made above what God had given them. Because he even said above that, but what God had given, they had to give back 10% of the fruits of their labors. And so the people that were earning the money from the production of stuff gained wealth. That money stayed in their economy, and that's how wealth was gained. And as wealth is gained, then people can afford to produce and purchase more luxury items and stuff. And you know, it was so easy with American spirit and willingness and freedom to build a great nation. The people just did it, and they went to work, and money was staying in the system, and there was wealth being built. And yeah, there were always bankers, schemers, gamblers, and all this other stuff going on. But by the time World War II came, the bankers had already locked down the whole system. And you know, today, you know, people may not have realized all that loss that they were having, you know, but look at the threats against homes and the whole insurance business, the health business. You know, I mean, they had the whole healthcare thing, and they never, and they still haven't, and they never did talk about health, which should be the primary topic about the whole thing, because that's the first way to reduce healthcare costs, is to have good health. And they're so busted, and the whole thing's so busted, we just have been looking at the world cross-eyed because Lucifer's, you know, shining that light too much in our face. Here, look at me, and all that. And you know, we couldn't see what was going on, and it's so much coming into focus for people, and I'm helping to do that too right now, and want to share a Revolutionary War idea. All right, peace.